the animals barking in the background and.
Yeah. Well, that part I never minded so much.
Good
Says you got a
disturbance.
minute.
Good
So,
disturbance.
we'll see. We'll see if it works or not. If not, we'll just go on. I think the last couple times it's actually started a little late, so I don't know what the deal with that is, but anyway.
Balance it out by starting a minute early. Yeah. That works.
No, it doesn't
Waiting
work.
out there to watch this. Yeah.
All right. Let's see.
Are we waiting for it?
Well, it said, well, yeah, we'll see if it fires up. If it doesn't fire up at 4, then we'll just dig in and see if it comes on eventually. It says it's preparing.
Okay.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, hey, look at that. Yeah. We are live. So you'll have to use microphones to
All
talk
right.
into.
I got it. So we're good to go?
We are good to go.
All right. Well, welcome everybody to this beautiful day. Thanks for coming to the meeting. I will call the library board meeting for March. It's already March. To order. If everyone has had an opportunity to see the minutes, I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes from the February meeting.
So moved. Okay. Seconded?
All right.
The only question I
Sorry,
have
who
on that
moved
is that it shows Lisa Katzenstein
Yes.
was here.
I have no control over that.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
and then you'll
Because it also has Adam and Angela listed
Yeah.
at the end.
if you look at the very end,
as well.
it's just
They-
a
I just
It's
template.
never
never
been-
missed something, or maybe there was
No.
a meeting that I didn't get to.
No.
It's just in the template.
Yeah, Angela's mayor again, didn't you know that?
It's just the template, and it just has to
Yeah.
be changed in the system.
Yeah.
Who,
So-
oh, okay, I mean,
And
no big
so-
deal, I'm just curious.
Oh, well,
Well, yeah, I
Thanks,
just,
we just talked about it earlier, because
to be honest, I keep forgetting to ask
Yeah,
to get that changed.
Because if there was a legal issue and somebody said, well, I wasn't where you say I was at this meeting,
Right,
according to the official minutes,
Not- yeah.
somebody would have been here.
yeah.
Right.
I will, actually, what I can do, I think I can go in and change that so that she's marked as absent. Because I think I did that 2 months ago. I guess I didn't do it for this one, but I will change that, actually.
Yeah,
Well, and I'm
just-
not trying to be a,
Oh, no, because
Well,
we just
no.
talked about it earlier, Jim.
okay.
That out of there, and then also just the template for, who it's approved by and attested
Oh,
by, so,
Adam and Angela, I
yeah.
just see that.
yes,
I
so,
haven't seen the end of it yet.
And I will,
so for all of you
do
out
that
there,
tomorrow.
it will be changed.
I'll
if
just
you're
get on
looking
it
at the
tomorrow and
minutes.
get it taken care of. So, other than that,
All right. Okay, so it has
so it
been
was-
moved by Kathy and seconded by Kelly.
Yes.
All right. Any questions, further discussion, other than noted that we will get the changes made to the template that is out there right now? All those in favor of approving the minutes from the February 26th Library Board meeting signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, financial reports, Chris.
all right. The city budget is all pretty straightforward. The Argus Leader was a little weird. We called and canceled, and then they sent me a bill that I thought was for what was left. So I paid it, and then we started getting the Argus Leader again.
Oh, no.
So I called him up and I said, why'd we get a bill? Well, you paid it, so we assumed you were starting your subscription up again. Well, okay, no, I don't want that. Oh, so that must be their thing. They send you a bill, and if you pay it, then, oh, well, you're back on the sheet again. So that's been taken care of, and we'll be getting it for another, I don't know, week or so, and then it'll be done. But, yeah, they're pretty pushy about, well, why don't you want it anymore? Well, I can't afford it. Well, what if we gave it to you for, $40 a month instead of $70? Still can't afford it. Well, what if we, no.
Have any patrons
I
expressed?
have no money. No.
Okay,
No, it's, yeah, nobody's said anything about it, which I didn't expect that they would. It was the same thing when we got rid of USA Today. We kept it actually behind the counter for a month to see if anybody wanted it. Nobody asked for it, so we just went ahead and got rid of it. So, yeah. And that's $800 a year for the Argus Leader, I think. It's $70 a month for the Argus Leader, so yeah, that was a nice savings. Anyway, so that's there. Other than that, books and had to buy stamps, and yeah, that's about it. Some office supplies. The memorial miscellaneous checking has mainly been deposits. We did get a book for the summer reading program, and then just our normal monthly bills. And we did pay for the Friends filing fee out of that account, which was $275. And I'm still waiting to hear on that. I think in April I can go online and check to see what the status is. I think that's the earliest that we'll see where it is in the pipeline. But I don't anticipate any issues with that. It's just a matter of how long it'll take them to approve that. Anyway, so that's that. There is a change to the First Interstate Bank savings, and actually to the Dunn Trust savings. There was a deposit on Monday after I completed all this. On Sunday, there was a benefit for the summer reading program that raised about $215. And then we did get the Community Foundation check for the Elliott Maintenance Fund for $3,200. So the balance in the savings account is actually $60,757.24. And when I was talking to Janine about the Dunn Trust and getting that CD renewed, she mentioned that because we have over 50,000 in the savings accounts, that we can change those over to a high yield business account, which generates a considerably bigger amount of interest. So right now it's at 2.25%. So to give you an example, in February we made $16.98 in interest on the Memorial Miscellaneous Savings. So far in March we've made $86.36. Yeah, so that's great. And then what we did with the Dunn Trust savings is we took $1,500 out of the CD to add to the savings account to get us over that 50,000, because that's the minimum for the high yield is 50,000. And so that has actually pulled in $72.31 so far this month, rather than the $10 or so that it brings in a month. So that's great. The only downside to it is you have to stay over $50,000. Otherwise, it's a $50 service fee each month. The Dunn Trust savings, that won't be a problem. The Memorial Miscellaneous savings may drop down because that's where the summer reading program money is, but we'll be generating around $90 a month in interest. So even if it drops below the $50,000 and we're paying $50 a month, we're still making $40 in interest rather than the 10 or 15 that we had. So it ends up working in our benefit. But so that was kind of nice to find out. So that's great. And yeah, that's about it for the financials.
Chris, the only thing, and I don't mean to keep bringing this up, because I am in Northern Hills and Black Hills Federal.
Right, yeah.
They pay 4.25% for 12-month CDs at Black Hills Federal.
Is that current? Because everything dropped?
That's as of yesterday.
Okay.
So, I mean, I'm just,
Yeah.
if we get 2% less, I just bring it up. 'cause I
Yeah,
don't
well,
think we-
it's actually 375 is what we're at, and it actually ends up being a little bit more than that when you adjust everything, but it's, yeah, 375 is what, we're getting right now, for 7 months.
He was
On
talking
the
about the
CD.
high yield with the 2%.
Oh, the high yield, is that what
high
you were talking about, or the CD?
The CD
Yeah,
is
Yeah.
4.25.
right,
Anyway,
yeah,
my concern is I went to them and asked for money and they gave it to us. And
Right,
I understand
right.
we do that same thing. I'm not trying
Right.
to pit banks against each other. It's just if we're looking for a good interest rate, we should, and maybe you checked on that.
right.
So-
I did, and actually, in February, they were the same. And then it changed, because we were off by a month in renewing the CD, which was odd. And so, yeah, yeah. And when it comes up in 7 months, we'll look and see what interest rates are. And
Thank
then-
you.
And then go from there. Yep.
Thank you, Jim. All right. Any questions on any of the financials? Do you need a minute to look? I'll give us a minute.
Yeah, the 2.25 is the interest rate on the savings accounts, not on the CD. Yeah, which is much more than we were at before, now that we've reached the 50,000 threshold.
Chris, do you know off the top of your head where the youth programming fundraiser is at?
I do. It is $8,016.65.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Is Sierra feeling good about that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does anyone need more time to look over the financials? Any questions for Chris?
I'll move to approve.
All right, it's been moved.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve the financial report. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
All right.
Director's report.
Yeah, so you can look at the stats, which are all, they're always about what they normally are. The summer reading program fundraiser, it says 7,800, but that's before we got the 200 on Sunday, so that's why we're at 8,016 now. So that's great. First Interstate Bank gave us $1,000 for literacy programs, so that's great. And the Sturgis Brown High School art show will come down this weekend, and the quilt show will go up on Saturday, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, Saturday we'll get the quilts up, and then the beginning of May is the Green Thumb Gala, and then after that we've got another artist set up to come in, and I can't think of his name offhand. Our programming, all pretty standard programming. As far as facility updates, there were a lot of scuff marks up on the tile upstairs, and custodial staff came in and cleaned all those off. They need to buff to cover up the tile that's exposed now, because it took the top layer off when they scrubbed them down. So they'll be doing that, I think, this weekend. They're going to try to get that taken care of. So that'll be good. Judd managed to find about 60, maybe even closer to 100 fluorescent bulbs from someplace in Rapid City, I forget where, that they converted all their fluorescent to LED. And so they pulled all the bulbs. And so he got those and brought those to the library. And then Gary, who works with him, found a couple boxes outside one of the banks. They did the same thing, converted to LED, and so they had a couple of boxes of fluorescents that hadn't even been used that were just out on the side of the street. And he drove by and asked them about them, and so we picked those up. So we've got a fair number of new and slightly used fluorescent bulbs, which is good. The downside is up in the teen loft. I went to fix a bunch of lights that were out yesterday, and the ballasts are fried. So we've got to see. Half of the fixtures up in that area are the LED bulbs right now. So we'll see what the difference in cost between fixing the ballasts and putting in the LEDs is. So anyway, that's about it for any facility issues we have right now. We were asked about the broken door out front. You know, one of the two doors that leads into the library. One of the doors is on the automatic locking system. The other one is not. The other one is stuck, locked all the time. We're guessing it would be probably $500 to $700 to fix that. I don't think there's any advantage to doing that because we prop that door open anyway, since it's locked all the time. We just prop it open. And there's something wrong with the locking mechanism, and so it would have to be taken out and a new lock would have to be put in there. What that would mean is then we would have to unlock and lock that door open and close every day, and right now it's just easier to prop it open and then pull the door stop out. So I don't think we're gonna worry about fixing that. And other than that, yeah, things are actually in pretty good shape, so that's good. The Friends of the Library is waiting to get our 501c3 status from the IRS. The legislature passed an alternative bill to getting rid of the state library. What the new bill did is basically cut 3 positions, got rid of the state library board. The library will no longer have a print collection, which was mainly books for librarians to use about library boards, about collections, about cataloging, that kind of stuff, programming. They're getting rid of all of those, and they're no longer going to be a depository for government documents. All the government documents are going to the Historical Society now. There are also, I think, about 4 databases that are going to go away. I think they're trying to figure out what those are going to be right now. Ancestry.com sounds like it's going to be one of them, but I think that's probably one of the ones that's used more than others. So I think they were looking at alternatives to getting rid of that. If they do get rid of that, I'm not sure we can afford it. I would have to look into that and see how much it would cost us, or to see if that was something that the Library Consortium was interested in. But all that's still up in the air, so we'll have to see how that all finally settles in. I had down that I was working on the state library survey. I've got that finished, and we can review that here in a minute. The salary and classification survey that the city's doing, we're supposed to get the results in May, so we'll see how that all that falls out. And then just recently, I think last week, the Institute of Museum and Library Services, which provides money to libraries at the federal level, they provide grants to the states for libraries and also for museums, is another one of the agencies that's put on the chopping block. They installed a new director who said it's his goal to shut the department down. South Dakota gets about $2 million a year from that. It's about 0.0003% of the federal budget, so it's not a real big savings. And if you split that out to the population, it's about $75 a person that I guess your taxes go toward supporting museums and libraries. So I would encourage you to contact your federal legislators and let them know that that's not going to really save hardly any money, and it's going to do a lot of damage to not only libraries but also to museums. And especially with the 250th celebration coming up in a couple years, it just seems kind of silly to be cutting all the money that's going to be going toward supporting that. So, like many of the other cuts that have been proposed, it's turning out that DOJ actually doesn't have the authority to cut it. So I assume that there's going to be at some point a lawsuit to stop that, but we'll have to see what's going to go on with that. So yeah, so that's what we've got as far as the board report. I'll talk about House Bill 1239 here in a minute.
Okay. So Chris, have you or Jim, have you heard any, or Lance maybe being here, the salary and classification survey? Do we have any expectations of what it could be or what to expect, or we don't know?
No.
No, we haven't,
Okay,
it's being done.
okay,
And as Chris said, we'll find out in May. I guess it's not that it's not important, it's just that there's so many other things happening that that's not one of the top lists right now, except we know it's coming and that'll make a big difference. And especially dealing with
The
union.
The union, yeah. That's, I think, mainly, my understanding is that's mainly what it's being done for, is for union negotiations, to look at how Sturgis employees compare to other employees in the area. So,
no, thank you.
yeah.
All right, unfinished business. Dun
right.
Trust.
Okay, so, yeah, so we got the Dun Trust CD renewed. I don't know, I had down that it was due in February. Janine had down that it was due in February. Turns out it came up in March, so that just got pushed a month, and we got that started. And that's when we found out about the high yield interest and shifting a little bit of money over to make sure that's, we were at that 50,000 mark. So, so yeah, that's all done and taken care of. I don't know why that wasn't 5.1, but doesn't matter. So yeah, so that's that. There isn't really anything that we need to do about that. That was just more informational for you guys. The next one, the Senate looked at 1239, which was removing protections for teachers and museum workers and librarians as far as obscene content being given to minors. And the House passed it, the Senate looked at it, and basically stripped all the language out and put in the language from last year's bill saying that we won't have obscene materials in our libraries, either on the internet or in person. So that was good. The only difference is that after someone goes through the process of challenging a book, if they don't like the way that goes. So if they challenge a book and it's decided, no, the book can stay, then the person who challenged it does have the option of civil litigation. They could take it to a judge and have the judge decide if it met the Miller test or not. So that's where we're at. As far as having to change our policy on book challenges, we may need to add a sentence that says that you have the right to take it to a judge. And I think that the state library will probably come up with some sample language for that. Once all's said and done. So we still have our protections, so no librarians will be going to jail. And the possibility of going to jail is no longer on the table. And again, there isn't a library in South Dakota that has obscene material in it. So yeah. So,
Chris, I went to the,
Yes, sir.
to the last, you were not able to, and so I.
No, I wasn't.
So I went to the
the Cracker Barrel.
Cracker
yeah.
Barrel. All three, and I think it's important that we know, all three of our legislators were very adamant that they were very opposed to obscenity, and I mean, it was easy, it's an easy thing to sell. And so when they were all done explaining what a good thing they had done, I stood up and said, so may it be said that you all are in favor of censorship? And of course, they backed away from that very
Oh,
quickly.
sure.
But then, I mean, I understand. Any parent understands, but I think we all kind of agreed in that group, and it wasn't a huge turnout. I'm disappointed in that. But I think it's important we understand that the three people that represent us in Pierre, all Terry Jorgensen least. She's a librarian, apparently, from her background.
Her mother was.
Oh, is that what it was?
she said
I like her. I like the way she was the least offensive. That might be the wrong term. It's not that, because they,
Well, no, yeah,
they
I know.
answered what you would hope, but they said, no librarian's going to go to jail. Well, that's what the bill says.
Right, that's what they tried to say we're not gonna,
But the problem is that if it's in the bill, then it doesn't matter what you say.
Right.
That's what
Exactly.
is. But when I said, so maybe they say then that you are in favor of censorship, oh my gosh, it was like somebody slapped him in the face.
Yeah.
But that's really what they were saying. Mm-hmm. Who's going to be on that board to determine which books are not going to be there, and how does that all work?
right,
The audience, I would say, was with me on that.
yeah.
And it wasn't a battle, it's just, but I think it's important that we're aware that we hired 3 new people that had never been there before, and we need to be careful of that. I mean, I am a believer in not sending back people time after time after time. I was in the Senate when we passed the bill that says you can't run for more than 2 terms, and was it 4 terms? I forgot now where we are with that.
2 on each, right?
Well, except no, that was not the part of the plan. Nobody thought at the time that people were going to switch from one house to the other
Right.
when their time was up. And we should have done that. We should have known that that's what it would happen, because that's what's happening. And so
Yeah.
that's an issue. But I'm just saying,
Well, yeah.
I think we need to be aware, be alert to that, and that's not opposed to these people necessarily. I'm just saying that if we're thinking about what
Right.
what your issue was, we don't want Chris to go to jail. We don't think we're doing anything to send anybody to jail, but these people agreed.
Well, and yes, and I will say that Jorgensen did write me back a very long email about why she voted for it. And I'm waiting until now that the session's over with, I'm going to respond to her, because the vote had already happened. So I thought, I'm not going to clog your email with something that you don't need to read right now.
She
But
seems to be
but,
of the 3 of them, I would probably vote again as a
Yeah.
voter. I would vote for her based on what other answers
yeah,
she
and
given.
she is typically more for local control. I was surprised that she voted for it. But she was talking about the book that was brought up as an example of pornography. I'm working my way through it. It's for teens, so it's kind of hard for me to read, because it's like drama. But it's relevant to them. And so once I get done with it, I'm going to respond to her and say, well, here are the items that they cherry picked to make it look really bad. This is really what's happening in the book. It's not glorifying this stuff. It's about teenagers who end up in either white slavery or prostitution. And so it's not glorifying the prostitution, even though I think what they pulled out were very descriptive examples. And it's like, well, so the language may be rough, but I think if you look at it as a whole, it's not serving a prurient interest. And so anyway, I'm going to talk to her about that once we get there. But thanks for saying that. Because when you bring it up, they're like, oh, well, we don't want all this stuff there, so you want to censor stuff. Oh, no, that's not what we said. And that seems to be the issue, because if you talk to those people, Moms for Liberty and all those groups, they're not banning books. They haven't banned a single book. That's not what they do. I don't know what they call what they do, but at any rate, I'm thankful to the Senate for what they did with this bill, and keeping the protections for librarians and teachers and museum workers. That's the thing I thought, and one of the things that was brought up was if a kid gets into an R-rated movie, the projectionist can't be arrested for showing the movie. But if a kid gets a book that their parent thinks is bad, then the librarian goes to jail. So it seemed like there was not any kind of equity there. So that's good. So we'll see how things go next year. We still have to have the federal fight for funding that we need to be dealing with. And that's not going to go away, I think, anytime soon, but we'll see how things happen. So again, nothing to vote on for that, but just to make sure that we understand where we're at with that.
And you'll let us know if we do need to update.
Yeah, and I'm sure probably in the next few months we'll start to hear about that. And actually, kind of related to that, if we want to move to new business.
Yes.
Okay. The Black Hills Library Consortium mini conference is Monday, April 21st. Some of you have gone to that in the past. We would like to ask the board for permission to close that day so the staff can go. It's in Rapid City. And this might be one of the things that comes up is how that policy needs to be changed.
All right. And so all day on Monday?
It would be
April
all day
21st?
on Monday, the 21st. They've done it 2 years now, and we've been closed for both of those years for the conference.
And you're all going.
All except, Kathy, who's going to be on medical leave, but the rest of us, at least full-time, will. I think Merman has gone in the past. I don't know if she would go or not, but but I don't know if she'll go this year. We haven't seen a schedule of events yet, so we're not quite sure what's going to be going on, but.
I'd make a motion to approve
All right.
April 21st to be closed, so all employees can attend the Black Hills Library mini conference.
Thank you, Terry.
Second.
All right. It's been moved and seconded that the library will close on Monday, April 21st to attend the Black Hills Library mini conference for all the staff. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. All right, motion passes.
All right.
That will be good. And is that something that library board members as well?
I will, once I get a schedule, I'll send it to you guys.
Okay.
And you can look and see if that's something you're interested in attending. Like I said, I don't know what they're offering this year.
Very interesting.
Thank you,
Didn't
Chris.
that last time.
All right, 6-2.
All right, we are starting the process for budgets in the city. And so I've been starting to put together a preliminary budget, moving some things around. Somebody last year shifted some things around to where I'm not sure they need to be. But aside from that, I wanted to ask if you guys have any priorities that you want me to put in the budget. I'm going to ask for full part-time, and hopefully that won't disappear again. And other than that, I've been looking at trying to restore some of the stuff that was cut for this year. And of course, it'll all depend on what we end up with as far as budget numbers. But
On that earlier this year.
yes, that's why we're doing it now is so that we can, I know that Aaron would like budgets in probably by the end of April, I think. And then I'm not sure when. I think shortly after that, they're going to start to look at things. Hopefully the reconciliation will be done by then. They'll have a better idea of finances for 26. And then the other piece of that puzzle will be the salary survey and union negotiations, because that'll affect the salaries. And then once that's done, I think they're planning on, I can't remember what he said, but I think July is going to be when you guys are really going to start to hash out the budget. And I guess it wouldn't necessarily be the city council, because you guys won't really see it until after the mayor and the city manager put together their budget. But I suspect you'll be involved peripherally on some of that, I think. But anyway, so, and then I don't know, you might remember August, well, not August, but September probably will be when everything will really come down. So I'm assuming by October it'll be taken care of instead of being started in October. So, yeah, it should be a much smoother process. And yeah. So anyway, any priorities that you guys have or things you want to make sure that I'm focused on?
Yeah, especially if he's gonna want those turned in, because the next time we meet is April 30th, so
Yeah.
we won't have much time to, so.
Well, and this is a preliminary budget, so
Okay,
it'll go through probably 2 or 3 iterations before it settles down, I would think.
Maintenance and improvements.
Yeah.
That floor is an issue and has been. I don't know what that line item.
Well, building maintenance, I guess, unless it can come out of the building budget. I don't know how that's being, I don't know if that's going away or not. I guess, I don't know. But the building budget pays for utilities for all of City Hall. And then used to pay for some of the repairs, but I don't know if I'd have to look it up and see if they've changed that or not.
I think repairs and maintenance, is that a line item?
Well,
Being in front of me, Chris,
we do have a building maintenance line item, but there's also, so there's the library budget, but then there's also a building budget
For the city.
for City Hall. Yeah.
that we have no control over.
We have no control over that.
We can request it though for the library.
Yeah, and that budget has changed over the past few years. And to be honest, I'm not sure what the status of it right now is or what the plan for the future is. So the building maintenance, I got added to our budget because it hadn't been in there in the past. I had it added to our budget because of little things that we needed fixed that there was no way to pay for. Lights. We need lights. Does that come out of the building budget? Well, no, the building doesn't pay for that. You guys have to pay for that. Well, we don't have a building line item. Well, we don't care where you get it from. You just need to come up with the money for it. So then it would come out of wherever, Julie could find money to pay for that stuff. So I was able to get that building maintenance added. It started off, 2,800, I think, is where it started. It's $1,000 this year. But yeah, it's just,
Probably be worthwhile to bump that up a little bit.
well, yeah. Yeah, that was actually one of the first cuts I think I had to make.
Right.
Was just, when I need to get rid of $20,000 or whatever it was like, well, here's 1,500 that we can get rid of,
Well, if you had a crystal ball, it'd be nice, but to have something there that's at least budgeted, if you don't use it, then it's there for the following.
Well, right.
year.
Yeah. So, okay, yeah, I will, definitely bump that up. Anything else you guys want focused on?
Without having it in front of me, like you said, I was looking in here, it probably would be.
Books that we can have on our Libby,
Mm-hmm.
do we budget for that?
That's $3,000 a year we're committed to,
Did we
or
lower that?
3,500. Wait a minute. Well, yes and no. Hold on, let me.
It can't be both, Chris.
Well, it can. 3,000 is what we have committed to Overdrive for the year.
Did we pay the consortium?
Yes. Well, we pay Overdrive directly. Each library in the consortium pays X amount of money to Overdrive a year. That got cut down to 2,000, so 1,000 is coming out of other places, books, periodicals, some other places that we're trying to piece it together. Because that's a requirement that, I mean, we have to pay that, so we have to pay it. So it's coming out of some of the other materials. The extra 1,000 that we needed. But so that'll be 3,000. That hasn't changed, so I guess if we decided we wanted to add more, we could do that. I'm not sure how the contract with Overdrive works as far as the consortium. I don't know if we contract for X amount of money. I mean, we can always add money to it if we say that, well, we want to set aside $3,500 for ebooks. That extra $500, I would just order $500 worth of books, and then we'd pay for it. So there are two ways we can do that, and you'll see in the report, the survey, that ebook use is way up. And the downside of that is the wait time is also way up.
Oh, boy, is it.
So, and that's an issue that we try to deal with as far as how many copies of this book do we need, and how many copies can we afford? I mean, we basically have $1,000 a month to spend on ebooks in the consortium. So that will get you maybe 10 books.
Jim, is it your opinion that we should not inflate this budget, but try to replace what was in last year and maybe improve our services if there's an area that we feel like we've had to reduce because of the budget cuts? Is this the time to?
If I was sitting, well, which I do, if I'm sitting on that budget committee, I don't think we can say that there's more money next year. I think that we've reached a point where at least we've taken care of what we thought we were short. We haven't got all the reconciliation done. And that puts people at a little bit of a disadvantage with the budget for '26, but I know we're gonna start earlier, and I'm not sure that anybody can plan positively for next year. I think we were at least 2 to 3 years, we thought we were gonna have to really be careful with spending based on what we took over last in '24. So I'm not sure, you asked me what you should do first. I think that I'm proud of this library. I mean, it's easy to see that we're staffed well. We've got people. Meade County's a big place, and we've taken care of people. And I think the city recognizes that. I just don't know that inflation happens because we raise prices. And so how do we not get inflation? You know, you heard me say that the other night, even with this utility costs. We blame inflation. And then so we raise prices and we continue to inflate. And so, at least from and I'm just talking taxing now, but I look at the people in my area, all retired, all limited. There's 6 of the 10 of us in that little development that are single women, divorced, widowed, that are living on Social Security for the most part. And I think we need to be alert to that. We have a city that's made up of mostly retired people. There's obviously lots of others, but the state, I think when Augustana came in and did that housing study, they said people that live here and people that are moving here are mostly retired. And so if we're thinking of that, then I think we need to be alert. Those of us that are putting budgets together, we need to be alert to the people that are having to pay those property taxes and utility fees and things like that. We don't charge for light books here.
No.
I mean, to my way of thinking, we've done everything we can to make it easy for people to read, and that's important to me. So as I said, I'm very proud of that. I honestly don't know how you budget the way it is right now, except I do know that next year, I'm sure that we're gonna have the same issues with whether in fact we have the money to catch up on things. You know, we've got a dozer that's short out at, I think Rick Bush told us that it's $800,000 to get a new dozer for the, what do you call that, rubble site.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we have a little put aside for that, but 800,000 is a huge cost when we cut $1.25 million out of the budget.
Yeah.
We have found a way to do that with rental or lease, so
Yeah.
anyway.
Well, and yeah, and not to interrupt, but I know that I think the way that the city manager is looking at it is that we need to work on restoring services that have been cut. How long that's going to take is, you know, nobody knows at this point. But the idea is to kind of prioritize, we need to get this back up to where it was. This is going to have to stay low for another couple of years, but we can get this back. So I think it's going to be kind of by pieces getting back where we're going. But yeah. And it's just, we're just, you know. So I guess my idea is, you know, look at what was cut from this year's budget, restore that for the most part, and then see where we're at. So all this money that was put back, well, okay, we're not going to get all of that. So then it's a matter of adjusting things, I think is my approach right now, I think. I mean, if you don't ask for it, you're not going to get it. But I also don't want to say, well, we need, you know, $80,000 for books, because I know that's never going to happen, and that would just be, you know, ridiculous. So,
Priorities are, I mean, as you're asking, what are priorities?
Yeah.
Somebody's sitting in that budget meeting deciding what we're gonna do, and you have to kind of measure priorities. Is a dozer at the rubble site more important than putting in a service at the library? And, I mean, those are just things you have to, hopefully can put together.
I just take it all to Bell, right? Once they get the fire put out.
Yeah.
Oofda. Okay, so maintenance,
That bulldozer only, the one we're now using, doesn't have reverse. So
Oh,
when it gets
jeez.
done with the
You just-
day, you gotta make sure it's parked in such a way they don't have to back up.
Oh, my
I drove a
gosh.
car like that once in high school.
Sounds like a reservation, like that.
um,
Yeah.
Movie down about that, wasn't it?
let's see. Okay,
That's we could drive right out.
so
Will we see this preliminary, will we see this, that you're submitting?
at some point, sure. I should have something I'm sure I'll have something by the next meeting, and I can show you what I've got.
Last month, we talked about computers, but I think we had a handle on where you kind of think the rotation is. Is that going to be reflected?
Yeah, and I at this point, I think I don't think we'll need to add any. I mean, we could probably use another one or two downstairs, but we don't have room for it. We don't have a place we can set up another computer station, so people just have to go upstairs. Just to try it, because we're trying to keep a couple of the computers open for the people that come in and need to print something, because nobody has a printer anymore, so they always come in and try to print something. A lot of them can do it off their phone, but sometimes they need to sit down at a computer and pull up something and print it, so we try to leave a few open for that. And so far, it's working pretty well, but the downstairs computers do get busy in the adult side. But anyway, so unless they break, you know, and then we won't be adding any in the next few years, I think. Okay. So, yeah, if we're good with that, we can look at the annual survey, and I can just go over a few things, and an extra set of eyes might be good in case you see something that looks really ridiculous. But if we want to, we can just go through it page by page if you want. The first page is all pretty much pre-filled out by the state based on census information. On the second page, hours, staff, that's all I don't think there's anything in there that's unusual. Although actually that doesn't look right. I thought that was hours per week. I'll have to look at section C, personnel. It says other librarians, total number of other librarians worked per week. I think that's supposed to be hours. It doesn't say on this, but but I think it's I think it's a typo on the form, because under all other paid staff, total number of all other paid staff hours. So anyway, I'll look at that and make sure that's right. Yeah. Yeah, it because a lot of this stuff I punch in numbers and then it automatically calculates stuff. So let's see. Actually, total number of volunteers, that should be 8. Not 7, because we include you guys, and then Richard Muller does some stuff for us as well. So okay, anyway, so yeah, that needs to be changed. Third page, operating income, that stuff's just pulled off of last year's numbers, because this is all 2024 stuff. Under local government revenue, well, actually down below that, other operating income, that 14,995 is stuff that came in, either fees, copies, some donations, all that stuff comes together on that line.
Part of the book sales too?
Yeah, book sale is in there as well. And then under capital income, the only capital income we had was the coding club grant, which bought stuff for some computers for the coding club, some iPads, and a case for them and all that stuff. So that's the capital income that we had last year.
In the previous year, that was $14,000.
Right, because I had there were a couple other grants that we got last year, yeah. Under expenditures, again, that's all stuff that's just pulled off of the books, off of what we spent. Under library holdings and circulation, that stuff's just pulled off of most of it is pulled off of off of Koha, our library management system. And you can see our physical items are actually up a little bit, even though we did a lot of weeding. But the circulation, physical circulation was down a little bit from last year, which I thought was interesting. But ebooks, of course, was up to the point where that's about a third of what we do. Well, actually more than that. Whereas total physical item circulation is 35,000. Total electronic circulation is 27,000. So it's about 2/3 of what the print circulation is. And I assume in the next few years, it's probably going to equal it, if not surpass it. The thing that's going to be limiting that is just how much money goes toward ebooks. Just because the wait time is so long on a bunch of that stuff that people just can't get to it because we don't have enough copies. And then of course, the digital copies don't last forever. They have a limited number of checkouts before they go away and we have to purchase it again. So that has an effect on that as well. But and then let's see how we provide access is through the library and through the consortium. Actually, no, I have to look at that. Provided via South Dakota State Library, ebooks shouldn't be yes, but that must have been populated yes automatically. because we get research databases and online learning platforms, but we don't get ebooks from them, so we'll have to fix that. Resource sharing, interlibrary loan, again, that's just off of the numbers that we gather throughout the year. So ILLs were down substantially, but if you remember last year, we had all the courier issues. And so there were months where we just nobody was doing any ILLs because there was no way to get books. So those numbers will be down, but registered users is up. Annual total attendance was, I think, down a little bit. But in 2023, we had Crossroads, and that brought in a lot of people. Last year, we didn't have a big event to bring people in. Library programs, that's all just the numbers that we calculate. So you can see, and those numbers for the most part are up from 23, which is great to see. Going on to page 6, that's just totaling up the numbers. And then under internet, we have 20 computers that the public can use. We had 6,200 sessions. And on this survey, a session is one person sitting down at the computer for however long they're there. The number that I give you on the monthly report are the number of half-hour sessions. So if somebody comes and sits at the computer for 6 hours, it counts as one on this survey. So the numbers are a lot different. And, for example, we had 2 kids on Friday because school was out for spring break. They were sitting at the computer from about 8:30 until they were there when I left at 4:15. And I don't think they got up. Because I was saying to the other librarians, I think after like 3 hours, we should just kick them out and say, walk around the block a few times and then you can come back in. But they're just planted. It's like, yikes. But at any rate, so those numbers are up. Our wireless sessions actually, so people using the outdoor Wi-Fi was down last year from 2023, which I thought was interesting. And then, we use Koha and we don't charge overdue fines for print materials. We do for our hotspots and other equipment. We have a $5 a day charge for those. Then trustees, make sure I spelled all your names right. And you can look at your term expiration dates. Those are taken off of the sheet that I have. So a couple of you are coming up for renewal this year. So I will be asking you about that if you're interested in continuing on or not when your terms are up. I'll send out some emails about that. We have 11 meetings a year. We are aware of and comply with the open meetings law. We don't have a friends group, or we didn't in 2024, which is why I put down no for a friends group. But that'll change this year. And we don't have a foundation. Page 8 is just a quick listing of stuff that we did. We didn't have any challenges. We do have under the supplemental questions, mainly that's related to last year's law, saying that we don't have obscene materials and that we have a policy saying we don't, and that we put it up on the library's website as well as the city website, and that's up there. And then certification by myself and by Cricket, and since Rick is acting city administrator for the next couple weeks, that's it. The other stuff, page 9, is stuff that's automatically populated, so we can kind of look at numbers and see how things have changed from year to year. And that's all populated by the state. We don't have anything about that. So I know we went through it fairly quickly, but it's all just basically taking the numbers that we collect throughout the year and just plugging them in where they're supposed to go. So if anybody didn't see anything that seems odd, other than the few things I mentioned that I'll have to look at, I think we're good to go with the survey.
All right, thanks.
Well
Chris.
done.
Yes,
So-
thank
So
you.
we're there. Yeah, so it's kind of nice because it gives us a lot of information that we can then use to see how we compare with other libraries, but also to see maybe spots where we need to focus and try to do better. And but I think all in all, we're doing a fairly good job of serving our community. In fact, Kathy was kind of chuckled because there were a couple of ladies that came in for history at high noon on Friday. And as they were walking by the circulation desk, I just like this library so much. It's just such a cheerful library, and I just love coming here. That's always good to hear, you know. And I have to say that's, you know, it's not very often that we have somebody come in and complain about something. So I take that as the staff doing a pretty good job, you know. So so yeah, so I'm everything's going pretty well, and yeah, so that's that. So I guess Cricket, if you're okay with the survey, I'll go ahead, and you don't have to sign it or anything, but and I already put your name down on it, but.
You just have a few those changes to make?
Yeah, just a couple of things to look at and make sure it's actually, make sure what they're asking for is what I gave them. And so I think there's 3 or 4 things I'll take a look at tomorrow, and yeah, I'll email it on to Rick, and then we'll go from there.
Is this something that we do need to approve for the minutes?
No. Well, I guess you could say that. I guess you could. I don't think it really matters one way or the other, because you're the one that signs off on it.
I'll have their support. And
So,
you guys missed it too. So I'll entertain a motion about the 2024 annual library survey.
I'll move to approve. Okay. Jim got it.
All right. Jim moved,
Second.
Terry seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carries. So thank you, Chris, and we do appreciate you and all the staff. So thank you.
Well, thanks. Yeah.
Getting ready for a busy summer.
I think so. It's looking like, yeah, it's going to be a pretty good summer reading program. So I think we're still getting details put together, but
Yeah, you get these nice days like today, and
yeah.
kids are going to start getting antsy.
Yeah, I mean, we've got the funding set up for this year, and we're good to go. So yeah, I
Great.
think we'll
All
be in
right.
good shape. Oh, and just as an aside, the state library was getting rid of a couple of science kits, NASA science kits. And they asked if anybody wanted one. They said, "You guys checked one out before. Do you want it?" And I said, "Sure." So it came in the Courier the other day. I think it was. I don't think it was for the eclipse, but it's sky science basically. So there's a small telescope and a bunch of things that you can do sky science with.
To
So,
check out?
well, no, for us to use in programming.
Gotcha. That's
I don't
awesome.
think any of that stuff we would necessarily check out. We talked about the telescope, but I thought
Yeah.
I would be hesitant to check. And it's a very small, just tabletop telescope, but I think it's delicate enough that we wouldn't necessarily want to do that. But anyway, so we got that, so that's cool.
Thank you.
And yeah, it's always nice when stuff like that comes by, and it's like, well, of course we'll take it.
Yeah.
So
So
yeah.
you had made the comment earlier, like they have that physical collection and they're just getting rid of it. Will they give it to other library, or like do they
You know,
throw it out?
they've
What are they
asked
doing?
for a bunch of bins, so I'm not sure where that's going. I guess I could ask. I'm assuming that it's probably going to one of the universities.
Oh, that would make sense, right?
I'm guessing probably SDSU or USD will probably get it, I would think.
So the access would still be there for
Access
someone.
would still be there. You just have to interlibrary loan it
Yeah.
through one of the universities. I'm assuming that's where it's going to go.
Sounds good.
Because they didn't, usually if they're giving it away, they'll send out an email and say, here's the list of books, anybody wants these, let us know. Because they've done that in the past when they've weeded some stuff.
Sure.
So
So when does it become effective, like there are 3 staff that were,
I think July,
okay.
I'm not 100% sure, but I think July is when all that takes place. So, yeah.
All right. Well, I don't see anyone here to come before us. We don't have anything before executive session either.
Nope.
All right. Does anyone else have anything? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Motion to adjourn.
All right. We are good to go.
All right.
Thank you, everybody.
Let me end the broadcast.